Welcome to the Week 14 College Football Power Rankings. Everything is pretty much wrapped up, but there's still some shuffling left to be done, so let's get into that sweet, sweet action. Notre Dame at number 1. You really have not liked watching them this season. I have not liked watching them this season. They've done it in ugly ways, but 12-0 is the record. They deserve the top spot. They're going to the National Championship and will be in Miami against, well, either the 3 or 4 team in the power rankings, Alabama or Georgia. But yes, they get by USC in a drowning lockdown kind of way, but that's what they do. Florida at number 2, a little higher than, well, higher than pretty much everybody has them, but they have the most impressive resume in the country, and to go to Tallahassee and beat Florida State, number 14 team this week, but still a very dominant Florida State team, has been impressive. They beat 4 of the BCS top 12 teams last week. It's a good schedule. It's a great season for Florida. They will be going BCS bowling. Number 3, Alabama. They kill Auburn, but frankly, who hasn't? So that's where Alabama is, looking in good shape to meet Notre Dame in the National Championship game. They still look better than Georgia, who themselves have looked very good in November. Big win over rival Georgia Tech this weekend on rivalry weekend. So they're starting to come along very strongly when it matters most. At number 5, Ohio State. They finish undefeated, an impressive, that was a lie, it wasn't that impressive, but a win over Michigan in their rivalry game. They're good. They are not playing in a bowl game this year because they do have that ban that athletic director Gene Smith imposed on their postseason. Oregon at number 6, they beat rival Oregon State in impressive fashion, but because they're not winning the Pac-12 North, they will not be in the Pac-12 championship game. Look for them to be in the Fiesta Bowl, most likely against Kansas State, if the Wildcats can get by Texas this week, which, all things considered, in case McCoy is starting for the Longhorns, they probably will. Stanford beats UCLA in Los Angeles. They win the Pac-12 North and face the Bruins once again, but having beaten UCLA in LA, beaten Oregon in Eugene, Stanford is your Pac-12 champion. I don't care what happens this Friday. Texas A&M finished the season in a strong way against Missouri, both new SEC teams. Well, very different seasons, but Johnny Manziel, quarterback for the Aggies, could be your Heisman champ, so in the end, it's pretty successful, I'd say. LSU, up and down season for the Tigers. They won't be BCS bowling, but that defense has looked as strong as anybody's throughout the season, just not at all points in the season. I'm looking at you, Ole Miss game. Looking at you. At number 11, South Carolina, a very impressive win over their rival Clemson on the road. They suffocate that Clemson offense that has done so many good things this year, but again, a mess at the top of the SEC. They will not be BCS bowling, but it'll be a fun season, fun January, hopefully, for the Gamecocks. At an even dozen, Oklahoma has TCU to finish the season. If they're able to win that game and get a Kansas State loss against Texas, they will themselves be BCS bowling, most likely against Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl, which is fun because of all of the onside kicks. All of them. All right, at lucky number 13, Nebraska. Another 10-win season for Bo Pelini and the Huskers. It wasn't pretty, and they're still playing for second place in the Big Ten championship game because of the Ohio State situation, but a Rose Bowl berth is a Rose Bowl berth. Could be quite exciting for Big Red. Number 14, Florida State, dropping the game to Florida. No real shame in that. Florida's a top 5, potentially top 2 or 3 team, but they did it at home. It looked ugly in the second half, dealing with the injuries they dealt with, but they have Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game, an opportunity to go to a big bowl game and make some money for Florida State. Good for them. And finally, let's go for some action. Kent State, the Golden Flashes get Northern Illinois this week to see who takes the MAC. The big thing here for Kent State is if they get a couple of losses ahead of them, mainly UCLA perhaps in the Pac-12 championship, they could earn an automatic bid to the BCS and get an invite. So go action. An entry finally into the top 15, into the power rankings for those mid-American schools. I like to see it. So let us know who's too high. I guess probably Florida for most of you. Who's too low? I have no idea who would be too low. Maybe Texas A&M. Let us know in the comments. Don't delay. See you soon.